being Avatanai. Birth after birth, we have to go through many births. Lord Krishna said, Arjuna, you and I have gone through many births. I know them all. You know them not. So is this all for us? Not at all. Regression therapy is the mental act of going back to earlier times. You have two things. Hypnosis puts a patient into a state, hypnotize a patient, and so you regress that person. So this person is hypnotized, and that person, his thoughts, his everything has gone back in times. That is called regression therapy. Once I went to this doctor, I had it. So when I introduced myself as Pundit, he said, Pundit, I want to hypnotize you. I want to see what is the problem with you. I said, Doc, I can come here for that. And Mr. Opportunity. I can't remember where this doctor is. I cannot remember his name. I can't remember anything about this. How I reached it, I really don't know. That was an opportunity that came. And I'm sorry I could not go through that. Because some of our mental illness, some of our illness in this life comes from the past life. So there is regression therapy. And one of the great men today is Dr. Vyas. One of the great men today who can hypnotize you and regress you. So he's going to do this with a man whose name was George. So he's going to do this regression. And we're going to see how many lives George went through. So he puts George to relax. And George closes his eyes. This is the man's real name. And so they began. He started hypnotizing George. George started speaking. I am an innkeeper, he said, a German innkeeper. I am lying in a bed in a room upstairs, our bedroom. It's the Middle Ages. I am an old man, over 70. I'm very weak. Recently I was strong. I can see myself clearly. My clothes are soiled. I am sick. My once powerful arms are now thin and skinny. My back muscles, which I could have lifted tons, my back has become weak. I have barely enough strength to sit. He looked at me from his distance of 700 years. The doctor regressed him to 700 years ago. And 700 years ago, he was a German innkeeper. He saw himself 700 years ago lying on a bed, a sick man. His family surrounded him. This is George, who is regressing to 700 years before. He is seeing all of this and speaking. He said, my family surrounded me. He said, I was unkind to all of them. I was mean to my wife. I was mean to my children. I neglected them. I drank and I abused them. This is the last 700 years ago when he was a German innkeeper. This is what he's seeing unfolding. My rages were violent. My family were afraid of me. George in regression, 700 years ago when he was an innkeeper. His wife in the present life. So that's 700 years ago. His wife in the present life was his son. This is what interests me. His wife in his present life was his son in his past life. I repeat, his wife in the present life was his son in his past life. And his daughter in his present life was his wife from a past life. See what happens there? And the same thing will happen to you and me. His daughter in his present life was his wife in his past life. And his wife in his past life is his son in the present life. You see how our families come back to us. So if you like your family, you're going to come back again and you'll have to deal with it again. Eventually, his body was ruined by years of excessive drinking. He floated above his grieving family. See what happened? He floated above, when he gave up, he floated above his grieving family. Looking at them. See what happens when? So, 700 years ago, in the regression therapy, in another, he was a 17-year-old soldier. So when the next day George came back, he continued. He was a 17-year-old soldier. So from birth after birth, we come back. On another occasion, he was a Frenchman. Such is the nature. Another episode, Chitra. A girl whose name was Chitra. Now you have regression, you see the past. Now we can know what will be in the future. We can know because we can progress us. And what the future is going to be. Chitra was one of the girls we progressed to. She looked into her future and she saw 3 futures. She saw 3 lives in the future. She saw 3 lives that she's going to come back to. You see that? So, the first life she saw what she was. And the second life she saw what she was. And the third life she saw what she was. And her third life she was a surgeon. She was a doctor. Believe it or not, this is not a story. This is what is available for all of us. We could be hypnotized. We could be regressed. I see who we were in my past life. We can be progressed. And we could see who we will be in our next life. This is what Lord Krishna says. You and I have passed through many lives. I know them all. You know them all. We change one suit of clothes for another suit of clothes. When the soul leaves this body, it floats over, seeing, listening, hearing everything that is happening. So friends, all of this is called out of death experience. Principal Vrindavan, we have Nanda Ki Jai. Sthita Pragyasya Bhasha Samadhistasya Keshava Sthita Devi Prabhasheta Imasita Praje Kimaha Sthita Pragyasya Bhasha Samadhistasya Keshava. So as the discussion continues, Arjuna says, Lord, I want you to tell them. So, as we come closer to the end of our discourse, we explore Vrindavan, we have Nanda Ki Jai. So Arjuna is asking the Lord, tell me the marks of a God-realized soul. What are the marks of a God-realized soul? Sthita Pragyasya Bhasha Samadhistasya Keshava. The God-realized soul is also called the Jivan Mukta. So let's do this to him. We do an explanation and we will conclude.